Hello again, YouTube. Big Smoke 58 here, and welcome back. Well, we reached step 3 in our Smith & Wesson stock refinishing process. We've finished step 1 and 2, which is fitting the stock to the revolver, and step 2 was removing the old finish and just kind of cleaning it up and refining some of the factory imperfections. All right, so step 3 is applying the new finish. Now you can use whatever your finish of choice is, any of the variety of oils, linseed, teak oil, tongue oil, whichever, or you can use true oil or any other varnish that you may choose to use. What I'm going to be using is a Minwax clear polyurethane, the gloss finish. It's just the finish that I like. It's hard, it's durable, it's beautiful, it's all based. It brings that wood grain out extremely well, and that's what I've always used. If you use the water-based polyurethane, it is not going to give that grain the same life as the oil-based polyurethane. So don't think that it is, because it is not. Oil-based products bring out wood grain far more vividly than the water-based products do. Now, you can apply this with a brush, and I have many times in the past, but what I've experienced is tend to leave brush marks. No matter how hard you try, it just leaves brush marks. So to make this a little more user-friendly, I've actually thinned that material with mineral spirits, like 60% polyurethane and about 40% mineral spirits. And now you can either brush it on or wipe it on, and it'll give you a nice smooth finish, and it's a whole lot less polishing at the end. I've also found out that using these shop towels is a lot better than using, say, cloth. No matter what kind of cloth you use, for whatever reason, it always seems to want to leave lint. These are pretty much lint free, so I'll just take a shop towel, cut it up into lots of small pieces, and that's what I'll use to wipe it on. Now I'm going to be applying lots and many thin coats of this stuff, so it won't be all done in one application. But you're going to see just how easy this is to apply, and how it really just brings that grain back to life. Now, in one of my previous videos, I strongly suggested that you resist the urge to add to stain these stocks when you remove the old finish, especially if you use acetone or the chemical stripping, because it'll actually lift the old stain out of the wood. Smith & Wesson chose some extremely beautiful hardwoods to make their stocks out of, and these are all products. Just brings that grain to life. You really should consider strongly before you decide to stain them. So I'm gonna get started. Again, this has been thinned, so what I do is just shake it up. And don't worry about shaking up thin polyurethane, because it's going to have bubbles in it. It's so thin, the bubbles are going to, you're not going to have that problem with as you would if it was unthinned. You don't want to shake this because it'll be full of air bubbles, and that's a nightmare. But here, just pop the top open. And you're going to use very little of this, so I'll just take and put just a little in the cap. And we're going to start. And what I always do is I'll start on this track first. I hope I catch this on camera. I'll just go around the track, and I may just have to dip it out of the jar. I'll go around this groove, put a nice thin bead in the groove, nice thin layer in that groove. And you don't want to put it on heavy because it's real thin now. It'll pool on you, so you don't want to do that. And then you just spread the rest. Now I said you can wipe this on or you can brush it on. It doesn't matter. Try not to get it all over your medallion. Like I said, this stuff is really thin. You're not going to have to worry about it making a mess or anything like that. And just spread it out. Don't worry about anything that you miss because this is going to be done in many layers. So you're not going to hurt anything by missing something. Like I said, it's extremely thin. Not a problem. But it's going to leave a beautiful finish when you're done. Now I tend to lean more toward brushing on this first coat than wiping it on because it's just, for whatever reason, my experience is it gets it into spots that you probably would miss wiping it on. And if you see how that wood grain is just comes to life once you put the polyurethane on it. If you'd stained that, you would have hid a lot of that patina in that wood. And you just take your brush, and on this checkered area, you want to be careful. You don't want to put this on heavy. You just want to wipe that on because you don't want it to pool inside of the grooves in the checkered areas because you'll start to fill them and they'll provide less grippage when you're finished. Now on these stocks, I may put 8, 10, 12 coats, but in this grip area, on this checkering, 2, maybe 3 at the most. And that's really all you need to do on that. That's beautiful. I mean, amazing. Now this is going to dry. It's going to want to soak in. And that's okay. That's what you expect. But that's all you need to do. And you repeat this process, I don't know, 8, maybe 10 times until you get the finish that you want. And the thing about this wipe on, you could just as easily do this with your finger because it's thin. It's going to just lay right down. You almost can't mess this up. And I just want to show you that. You almost just can't mess this up. Now, if this was straight polyurethane, you'd have all kind of streaks in it and you'd be mad at yourself already. So I'll just set this aside and I'll do the next one. Now, just to show you how versatile this material is, I'm going to wipe on this next coat, except for in the checkered areas, which I'm going to do first. Again, I just start in the groove, just go around, make sure you get a good coat in there, but you don't want it pooling. You don't want it just sloppy, wet, and running. You just want to spread it out really good. Because like I said, you're going to put multiple coats on, so you don't have to try to do it all on one coat. Okay, I'm going to show you. Just take this, double over the edges so that you're not working. You're working with a smooth edge, not a raw edge. Just get a little bit on your cloth and just wipe it on. I'm telling you, you cannot mess this up. And you just wipe it on. Sorry, I got out of camera there. And you just wipe it on. And you'd be amazed at how beautiful this turns out. Okay. Now I'll go back and hit the checkered areas with the brush because you can't wipe it on there. And we'll move on to the next one. Now you want to get this checkering in both directions. You know, these grooves are cut in 2 directions. So you want to make sure that you wipe it on in 2 directions. Otherwise you're going to miss places and it's going to show. Just a little bit, especially thin, goes a long way. And that's it. Now that first coat's going to be absorbed greatly by the wood, so not to worry. You'll have plenty of opportunities to go back and put additional coats on. Again, now this is the one that was removed with the abrasive means. Now one of the beauties about removing the old finish with acetone is it'll lift all the old oils out of the wood, which usually makes for, you know, a much more predictable finish. Sometimes just using abrasive finish removal, if there's lots of embedded oil in the wood, you won't get that out. So sometimes it's a good notion to wipe these stocks down with mineral spirits, just in case. Okay. Again, I'm going to wipe this on. It doesn't matter if you brush it or wipe it. You're going to get the same beautiful results. This is a beautiful wood. I commend Smith & Wesson on the wood species that they chose. You really don't have to do anything to it except get it ready and apply the new finish, because it has beautiful grain. And look at the bottoms of those stocks. And when this gets about 10 coats on it, you're going to be amazed at how well this looks. Okay. Again, I'll dress up the checkered area. One dip, do the whole checkered area. And all you need is a drop. You don't want to saturate your brush. Just one drop. Both directions. And if you were worried about me shaking that polyurethane up, there are no air bubbles at all. It's so thin that the bubbles just cannot sustain themselves. They'll just burst. Okay? That's grip number 3. And number 4. Make sure you get down in the grooves very well. You don't have to try to get it all perfect on one coat, because we're going to do this multiple times. So you'll have multiple opportunities to go back and get what you missed. It's not a big deal. I'm going to brush this on, so just go ahead and clean out my brush. You don't have to be too particular. Look at that beautiful wood grain. I mean, I just love these stocks. You don't have to do anything to them. Just clean them up and get them ready to apply another finish. Just another drop. That thin poly just spreads so easily. It's kind of self-leveling, so you don't have to spend a whole lot of time trying to brush it out. The one thing you do want to make sure of is that you get those edges, because it is so thin, it'll want to roll off the edges. But just brush it on, and then forget it. Wipe off any excess that may run over the edges. And if you don't, I'll show you how to get that off at the end of the process. And it'll leave for a nice clean line. And that is it. Get this checkered area. That's it, one drop. Goes a long way. That was almost too much. Just brush it out real thin. Both directions. What we're trying to do here is you want to make sure that you get all of the checkered pyramids covered, but you also want to make sure that you get any of the poly from pooling in the grooves. You're not going to get it all, but you want to try to make sure that you do the best you can with it. Okay? That's it. And that is number 4. All right. I tend to just try to clean out my seal area on my cap. I'll get something else next time. Maybe I won't even pull it out. Replace the cap. I'll go clean my brush. And that is coat number 1. I'll set this aside. I'll let it dry for about 3 hours. And then we'll take a look at it and see what we need to do for coats 2 and beyond. But anyway, that's coat number 1 of the refinishing process. Till next time, Big Swole 58 signing out.